Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back, and once again we have won a 128 Challenger Cup with our Fire King Snake Eyes deck. This time around we had to beat the famous Abohmod branded player. We faced him in the semifinals and we will look at the replays in a moment here. They are very interesting. As always, we have this new layout here, by the way, which I didn't want to make a video about this because I think it's not that important, because now of the missions here at the bottom, basically you can go ranked duel and you see how much gems you can get for your next rank up basically, and then you have your dual pass right here. We can go click here, which is interesting. We can quickly receive these things here, but yeah, this is not what I want to talk about. But yeah, we have this, and obviously the new pack coming on a Thursday, which I will be live streaming finally again. But let's talk about the replays here, and what I have for you here is the finals, then the quarterfinals, and here were the, what do you call it, if this is semifinal, it's the quarterfinals, right? The quarterfinals, right? We are playing against Fern, which also same as Abohmod was playing branded, and he actually was also playing the brand this is Abohmod was playing, and funnily enough, he was the one finishing first in the Swiss rounds, and I also played him in the Swiss rounds and lost to him in the Swiss rounds against his branded deck. So yeah, we are losing the dice roll unfortunately, and Fern selects to go first. We can take a quick look at the hand. Obviously we have the Maxi, he has a Maxi, so I can Maxi him and he can't do anything about it. I have the Ash for his Maxi as a counter, so that's quite nice, and we have an Imperm, also a starter in the form of the Bonfire. So looking at the hand, even though we go second here, this looks kind of nice. He basically only has he has two plays actually. He can go Fusion Deployment into a Cartesia if he plays more than one, which I guess he does, and then go for an Alubor to protect his Alubor from an Imperm by having the Cartesia online. So I'm dropping the Maxi in the draw phase, so I can't get Talanced here. I'm not quite sure whether he goes for the Fusion Deployment, right? And he reveals Cartesia, and then I obviously get a draw, and he goes for his branded Fusion here. This is what I'm talking about. Obviously this is protected now from the Imperm here, because the Cartesia can fuse at any point. He goes branded Fusion, very interesting, and I decide to Ash this here because obviously I don't want him to get any branded Fusion stuff online. He might also wanted to go for the Gimmick Puppet logline. Obviously he would have given me a lot of draws until that point, but if he then goes ahead and just places the Gimmick Puppet here, then I might not be able to do anything even with a lot of cards in hand. So this is why I obviously Ashed here, even though Ash is obviously nice against the Maxi, which I didn't know about at this current moment. So it's turn change, we are drawing, and we draw a Nip here, which this is all the, by the way, the new Nip counter here. As you can see, they now have this Nip counter where you can see how many times it was summoned this turn. So if this is 5, obviously, then you can drop your Nip, which I don't know, I'm not sure whether I'm a big fan of this. It makes the game easier, I understand. I guess it's for the new players, and in that sense I like it. It's the same thing as with this Infinite Impermanence, basically telling you which column the Imperm has been activated in with this little bubble thing here. Then it definitely makes the game less skillful a bit, but makes it, I guess, more easy for new players to join. And if that is what this does, then I'm quite happy about this. By the way, we also have a branded banishment here, which is just like yeah, basically nothing here because he can't target anything here. He could if he goes to fuse Blasian Cartesia, because obviously then he could go ahead and yeah, get this to the graveyard, and then he has a Despia monster in the graveyard. By the way, I remember the game I made the mistake of obviously not using my Imperm here in the draw phase on the Cartesia, where he now can use his Cartesia to fuse, and this will also make a potential branded banishment live. So this was a mistake. I was a bit yeah, I wasn't really paying attention here at this point. Obviously this is not the play. We are going for Bonfire, grabbing our Snake Eye Ash, then Snake Eye Ash go ahead and grab the Poplar. He goes Fusion Summon, which I, as I already said, could have also prevented here. Very unfortunate. But yeah, he goes for a Grungignol. It's not that dangerous here. We can grab a Poplar, and you can see the counter is at 1. He goes Grungignol, send, I go Poplar to summon it. Obviously now the Maxi gets dropped. Unfortunately can't do anything about this, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, what can I do here? How will I play this through? And if I remember this correctly, I'm just going to activate the Fire King Avatar Kirin to destroy the Poplar I just wanted to summon, so I can get 2 bodies on the field and the Poplar will not be summoned and he does not draw a card. And I think, if I remember this correctly, I'm passing over. The tournament was like 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks ago, so I'm not fully remembering is. So at this point, I'm dodging the card from the Maxi with the destruction of the Poplar that would have been summoned here. And he obviously dumps his Titanic Lad. I can go place the Ash here, and then he can tech out because of the Kirin, obviously. Most likely he will tech out into the Coraritis. Or, okay, a Quem. I'm not quite sure whether I decide on continuing to play here. If I remember this correctly now that I see this situation, I think I will continue to play, because if I pass this over now, I'm not in the best of situations. I go Snake Eye Ash here, and there, this is what I'm doing. Right, we go Flame Birch Dragon, and I try to put as low as a body count on the board as I can in order to finish him. He goes Branded Banishment, targets his Aluber, and then unfortunately for him has to fuse these two away here, which I can force this now, but he will obviously put these to 0. And at this point, I'm honestly a bit, I have to basically do it now, right? Because I've given him a lot of advantage points, so I have to continue play, even though I'm not the biggest fan of playing into a max seed situation here. I'm going for the Nightmare Phoenix just to get the Flame Birch Dragon into the graveyard. We are going to resummon the bodies here. Next thing we are going to do is, because we haven't used it now, get the original Sinful Spoils, then go into a Promethean Princess. If you're not aware, if you are playing this deck and you are not aware, normally you need a body on your opponent's field to kill your opponent, but if you go for the Nightmare Phoenix, then you can also kill your opponent by just using the World Sea Dragon, the Atlantis, and the Nightmare Phoenix, even if your opponent's board is empty. This is what we are going for here. I think, if I remember this correctly, I don't play this out perfectly, honestly, so I grab the Flame Birch Dragon, and at this point, this was where I messed up. Because at this point you have to revive your Nightmare Phoenix, because you need your Nightmare Phoenix for the kill combo. I think we will see it in another replay here, but if you want to go for this kill combo without your opponent having a monster on the field, you need the Nightmare Phoenix on the field together with the World Sea Dragon, the Atlantis, which this was a mistake, but fortunately the Flame Birch Dragon has a lot of attacks, so I can just go ahead and use him for attacking. So I go for Ponix here, because I need to get more attack points on the board, figuring that I can do it with a Garunix, because if Garunix destroys something, I will need to give him another summon here. This is a bit, it's really bad, because this is branded, and branded obviously has a lot of Bestials. I try to not get like dark monsters in my graveyard, but it doesn't really matter, because he has a lot of them. So if he has Bestials, then I'm basically fucked. So I go for the Garunix here, and now you can see we have 8, 9, so enough. I destroy the Avatar, the Kirin here, and at this point I use the Avatar's effect, even though you can see we have 9,800, we have already enough on the field. But I figure that if he summons indeed a Bestial, then I can go ahead and just destroy the Bestial with the Promethean Princess and still have enough attack points to kill. With this current situation here, I would need to crash with my Promethean Princess into the Bestial, and then you can see that this here is not enough to kill him. So I was like, okay, I will give him another card, and I will risk him having another Bestial, but now I'm able to basically counter one Bestial, and this was what I was thinking about. I think it was worth it. He has a 60 card deck, obviously, and the chance of him drawing 2 Bestials, that's not that high. And me being able to protect myself from one Bestial, it was definitely worth it. So we win this game that I definitely messed up at a few points here, honestly, but it is what it is. So we go for the second game. I think he still goes branded. Yeah, he still goes branded. I put some anti-branded stuff into my deck, and we will see how it works. I guess the Fern goes first once again here. Makes sense, because if he can just puppet lock me, then it's basically game over. We are going second, because obviously he can decide what he wants to do. We have 2 Imperms and a Ghost Spell. Unfortunately, my follow-up isn't that great. This is only a Ponix and then the old Garunix, basically. He has, he can go for this here into maybe, he definitely has a hand that can get him into a Branded Fusion if he wants to, I guess. So starts with the Albion, makes sense, dumping the Branded Retribution. He draws a card. Fusion Deployment, very nice for him. This is obviously very bad, because my Imperms now are bad. I imperm this here, because this is a very important fusion, and the fact that he goes Blazing Cartesia and fusion summon directly tells me that he kind of needs to go for this fusion summon. It's very important. I think he just wanted to get the Bestial Sauron here into the graveyard, so he can dump his Branded Fusion and get it back with the Branded Retribution. So in this case, I obviously go for the imperm here, imperming the guy, and this is very nice. And the next play he's able to do, I can go for Brandon White, which I think I can Ghost Spell, yeah, and then I think he just passes over now, if I remember this correctly. So we Ghost Spell this here, because we can. I think this is just a pass, because we have not activated anything. Oh yeah, I've activated the ghost spell, obviously. Okay, yeah. So he goes for the thrust, setting his fusion duplication here. Very nice for him. And then we are passing over. This time around, I actually do manage to make the impermanent draw phase, and I'm very lucky in drawing this ghost spell that I have sided in against his fusion duplication, because this works against fusion duplication, as you will see in a moment. I go for the Fire King line. I will shoot this guy here, grabbing me the Garunix, because now I get to 3 bodies on the field, which is obviously very nice. I go for the Kirin, I summon the Garunix, and here is fusion dupe, and I just go for the ghost spell. Very sad for my opponent. He basically can't do anything now. Not quite sure whether I finish him in this turn or we continue for another turn. Because as I already said, the tournament was a while ago. I shoot the Blazing Cartesia. Okay, I shoot the Fallen of Albas. We go for a Linkuriboh, I think, just to go for an SP Little Knight. Or we go for the Dark, okay. So there is the... Yeah, he can go for the Bestial now. And this would have been a kill line, obviously, because 4 bodies having a Link 2 means, like, you can do the Zealantis Raging Phoenix kill combo, but he dodges this, basically. And I decide, okay, I will battle over the Cartesia, and then make an SP, removing this Saronir, because the Saronir, obviously, gives him access to his branded fusion via this branded retribution, so I just go ahead and remove this. Obviously, my situation isn't that great, because I am missing a fire that I can kill. I'm missing a fire that can be destroyed to trigger my Garunix here, so I definitely need a fire monster on my next turn, if it can at any point be achieved here, but we have to hope that he doesn't draw anything good. It's not that great, it's not too bad either. He goes for the Lubelion, then goes for Bestial Magnamut, and he decides to, and I think this is very clever, not use Magnamut's effect. Oh, he used Magnamut's effect. Okay, I was in my head he didn't use the effect, but okay, I thought he ran over my SP Little Knight. Yeah, but he gets the Magnamut, activates Magnamut, gets an Albion, which I was surprised. I thought he would get another Bestial, but so be it. I draw, I think, a Kirin. Yeah, that's right. And then we can just destroy the Kirin, and from here on, it's obviously game. This is a normal some monster negate that we have. We can now go ahead, Garunix. We can get the other one. We can destroy, yeah, and this is just game, right? So we were lucky in drawing a fire monster, otherwise this game would have maybe been a bit longer. And then you could see our next opponent was actually AboRescueAce Abo, which he's never on RescueAce, he's always on his branded list, which everyone was on. And the most problematic thing for me, honestly, was the Super Poly. I wanted to play around the Super Poly, and I did, as you will see in a moment. I think this is in the first replay here, because Super Poly, obviously, if the Super Poly can remove my 2 fire bodies from my normal end board with Snake Eye Ash, then I can't trigger my Promethean Princess, which means I can't trigger all the other stuff. So we win the coin flip here. This is very nice. We have 2 Ashes and Maxi and our Snake Eyes Poplar starter here, together with a Sanctuary. So we go for Poplar. This is the basic Poplar line. Poplar into the Linkuriboh. Then we go for Poplar in the Spell Trap. Now we can go ahead and Oak. So send the Poplar away for an Oak. We go for the Oak, revive the Poplar, and then Oak can send away the Linkuriboh for Flame Birch the Dragon. The fact that we have the Fire King Sanctuary here is nice. Then again, it's not that important, honestly. We set this here, and then I can go ahead and destroy this here to grab a Garunix. So we are basically replacing this body here with this body, and he can now dump the Avatar. And this is nice, because now we have Avatar and Garunix in the grave. So if ever on the next turn a fire monster gets destroyed, we have this Fire King engine ready. So it's quite nice, but it does not give us more bodies. I go for an IP Masquerina, and this is basically the Poplar line that you are seeing right here. We're getting the bodies back, going obviously into Promethean Princess here. And normally in this Fire King version, we would end up on an Ambler Whale. In this case, because I wanted to play around Super Poly, and I knew that he had Super Poly in his deck, because I scouted his deck list on Master Duel Meta. I did not go for an Ambler Whale. I did go for Raging Phoenix, which at this point I am vulnerable to Super Poly, so I went ahead and got the World Deck Zealantis out. I activated Zealantis just to get this basically out of this zone and into the middle zone, because if you then go and summon your Promethean Princess, then you can summon your Promethean Princess with her, I think she has a, yeah, she's a right and left arrow. You can summon her either here or here, and then the World Sea Dragon Zealantis effect is live. So this is why you're going for the World Sea and then just placing your monster in a different zone here. And this way I played around the Super Poly, which was in hand actually, by giving up my World Sea Zealantis kill combo basically. And obviously we have a Maxi, we have an Ash Blossom. This is quite nice. He draws a card. I go Maxi. I guess he caught by this one, which is cool, because now we have a live Ash Blossom for a potential branded fusion here. I think he just goes Albion first because Albion is just such an amazing card, dumping the Retribution to the grave. This is just no-brainer first move here. This is such an insane card. He draws a Maxi, oh, that's bad for him. Goes for a Bestial Rebellion and grabs the Ceremony. Obviously, Ceremony will give him back, or will get him his Branded Fusion. I decide, because I was, okay, he wants to get the Ceremony into the grave, maybe by crashing it into the World Sea Dragon Z Atlantis. And I obviously didn't want to activate my Promethean Princess now, because then I would be Firelockt, can't use my IP Masquerena here. So I figured, okay, it seems to be very important for him to get a Ceremony into the grave so he can grab back his Branded Fusion with his Branded Retribution. This is why I decided to go for the Snake as Flamberge to get out the IP Masquerena. Unfortunately, though, he has a Super Poly, which he now can just activate to discard the Maxi. And interesting that he discarded the Maxi to fuse these here away, because now there's a Dark on the field, into a Mud Dragon of the Swamp. And now he also has access to his Branded Fusion, which fortunately to my hand isn't that problematic because I have the Ash. And you can see that his hand basically has nothing more here. So obviously we are going for the Branded Fusion here. Unfortunately, by the way, I couldn't basically use my Promethean Princess on the Mud Dragon because it's targeting protected. Otherwise, I could have destroyed my Flameburst to get bodies back here. We Ash this, and he has no other choice but to just set his Super Poly and then pass over to us here. We are drawing, and this is obviously a very nice territory for us. I go Fire King Island, destroy this Garunix, because the first thing I always want to do is clear the unknown back row, either with Nightmare Phoenix or with me using the Garunix to destroy Kirin, and then Kirin destroying whatever is set here. So this is my first thing that I want to do here. I summon this Garunix, activate Garunix, destroy the Kirin, Kirin activate, and now he has to use this, or it's gone basically. He goes for fire and then gives up, which there would not have been much that he could have done here, and we win this game. So second game against Abohmod, he is still on his branded list and obviously deciding to go first. He wants to go for the Puppet Lock because this is a branded's strongest play, at least as of this point. Obviously, when we get the new ban list, it won't be any longer because it won't be possible any longer. Then again, in the TCG, it still is. So we are selecting to go second here. We have a Max C and a Ghostbird and a Bestial. Unfortunately, though, no real big nice play here. These plays are okay. We have only the Fire King line available to us. He has once again a Super Poly. So we go for the Max C here, and then we just let him be. We have this counter for his Fusion Duplication with this Ghost Bell. It's very interesting here. At this point, I figured, okay, damn it, I could have gone, and I just realized this later, because I could have gone and banished this Fallen of Albas, because it's Fallen of Albas in the grave with my Bestial. I had the Druid Realm, right, and I draw the Magnamut right now with the Druid Realm, so that if he has a Cartesia in the hand, he cannot special summon the Cartesia, which now he could, right? Because if I would have done that, the turn would have basically been completely over at this point, but yeah, you never know, right? So dumps the Branded Fusion here and this one back to the deck, and then has to pass over with the idea obviously to use this duplication to duplicate the Branded Fusion, and still has an interruption in the form of the Super Poly, which is quite nice. And obviously it would have been nice to have, I don't know, the Magnamut on the field here. I obviously cited this stuff here. It is not in my normal list, right? I cited this, and I can show you my normal list afterwards. And now we are going to start with our best normal summon here, the Poplar. It's better than the Ponix Poplar, and then he goes for the Fusion Summon. I let him do this. He goes for Granguignol, and I think he dumps the Puppet, which it does not matter because I have two Bestials here. He goes for Fusion Dupe. I just go ahead and go spell this, and yeah, you can see that I just had really nice hands against his hands, and then played it out as it should be played out, and he wasn't really able to do anything, honestly. I go for the Kirin here, destroy. I'm not quite sure why I did this, and now that I see it, I'm a bit confused here. I guess it was because I wanted to summon the Ponix here to get the Fire King engine without using my OSS, right? So by destroying, obviously, I was able to summon the Ponix here, and then we go for this. And what I want to do, once again, is get rid of this back row here. So I go for my Garunix here, same thing as we have did in the game before. Go for Garunix effect. I destroy a Kirin here, and now he has to activate this, or he will never be able to. And now it's just gone, and he can tag out if he wants to, but it doesn't matter because I can have like two Bestials in hand. I get a Flamebird Dragon that I can just set this thing in the spell trap zone, and it does not matter. I go for the Oak, and I mean, he knows that this is game. We just summon this here, and then I go and send these away for the Flame Birch, and now I basically force his set everything to 0, but it doesn't matter because we will resummon a lot of the bodies here, and he doesn't even activate it, so whatever. I go for a Nightmare Phoenix for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure, and just continue to battle him and win this game, getting us to the finals once again. came back to back. So the video I posted about me winning the 128 player cup or Challenger Cup was from the first week basically, and then 1 week later also on Thursday I went ahead and won this one here. So we are playing against what's the guy's name? I just want to give him the Oswi. I think he also commented on under my video, so that's nice. He played Purrely, which I scouted him and saw that he was playing RescueAce a lot, so I was very surprised by Purrely, honestly. I think he went I went first. I think I won the coin toss here, if I remember this correctly. Obviously, being very lucky, winning the coin toss a lot is quite nice, but we will see this in a moment here. I'm not sure. Yeah, we are going first here. He has nothing to interrupt us, which is very rough, and I have the full combo line, which we go for. Yeah, I can speed this up a bit because I don't think it's super important. We go for Poplar Search. Then we go ahead, send these here for an Oak Revive, Poplar set. And yeah, we will revive this, set this, and then send Oak away for the Flame Birch. Flame Birch sets this in the spell trap, and now we are basically protected with the Flame Birch. We can go for the Fire King line now, Fire King Sanctuary here, Island there. We go for the dual little Chimera. Fire King Island, destroy the Chimera, get the Garunix onto the field, and Chimera can get back the Ponix here. This one here, this one back to the hand, and now we can destroy the Avatar, which can summon back the dual little Chimera because it's also winged, and we can also summon the Ponix here. These two go into Promethean Princess. The Princess revives our monster negate, and only at this point do we get rid of our Flame Birch, so our nip protection, if we want to call it that, is live until the point that we have this monster negate live. So we go into a Sunlight Wolf, revive our level 1 bodies here, bam, bam, get back our Flame Birch Dragon, and now we go into a Linkuriboh because it's always nice to have him in the graveyard, and now we can see where this goes. Heat Soul, we draw another card. We have enough cards already, enough interruption points already, but we don't care. And go into IP Masquerena here. And this is the Emperor that you can achieve if you play the dual little Chimera version, which I definitely like, and I've played from the beginning of the Fire Kings being released. I've played this version, and now I'm very comfortable with this version. You can definitely play it without the Chimera if you want to, but yeah, I played this version here. So we are passing over, and then we can see what happens here. So he goes for an Imp IP Masquerena. This is obviously very strong. I go for the Heat Soul, draw something here. I think I get a hand trap. Yeah, an Ash Blossom. This is obviously very nice. I go for Maxi here, and he can't stop it. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I will probably win this game. He goes for My Friend Purrely, and honestly, I could have also decided, because I already have this Ash Blossom in hand, just to Ash Blossom the My Friend Purrely, right? But I'm like, okay, I really want to destroy this My Friend Purrely before he can use it. So I use my Kirin from the hand, destroying my Alcanix in the graveyard. So I go for the Garunix here. Then you know the line Garunix destroys the Kirin, and here he interestingly goes for this Happy Memory, which says choose one card on the field, and until the end of the next turn, the first time it would be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. So he can now protect this from being destroyed. But now I can use my Ash to basically Ash this Purrely Happy Memory here, which is quite nice. So it will be destroyed in a moment here when my Kirin triggers. So this is what happens next. Here we trigger the Kirin, destroy the Kirin, and then trigger him to destroy the My Friend Purrely, because I figure this is very important to get this off the field. And then Ponix can also search something that's not that important here. He goes for a Purrely Pretty Memory. He obviously needs a new cat on the field, the black cat that can once again search My Friend Purrely. So yeah, but a lot of resources have already been invested at this point. I just negate this thing here because I figure, okay, well, he might have a white cat that he can summon, but one card in hand for a Purrely player is very, very difficult to manage. So yeah, this is where we win the first game, and the second game, not that interesting, honestly, but we can quickly take a look. He just goes and plays this Pendulum deck here, and honestly, I'm not super familiar with this. He obviously can choose to go first, which he does. Yeah, we can just to quickly take a look at it, but this is honestly not really interesting because I just concede this game. I draw my hand and I have an Ash Blossom. I'm not super sure where to interrupt this. I just remember that you want to use this one to get this one here into the grave, I think, right? And then you can continue your plays. Didn't know that he also had this in hand already, so I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure what I do here, so I just ashed this, right? So I ashed to the Dragonshine that wants to send this one, but he still has this. So I actually play into the board now that I remember, but he gets his full board, his full Pendulum board, and I can't do nothing. That's really not interesting, so no technical things to point out here, just goes for his full combo. And then in the third game, I can go first once again, and he switches to his RescueAce deck that I have scouted before, honestly. So this is fine. I'm not quite sure what I am expecting at this point. I think I have skill drains. and anti-spell fragrance and summon limit or something like this in my deck, maybe also a rivalry, I'm not quite sure. I have put in some judgments I also have here. So we have this hand here, we can quickly take a look at the hands. He, unfortunately for him, has no interruption here, but some good starters, honestly. And I have a Diabellstar, the Black Witch starter. So this is my first, I think a lot about this here, but I decided to get rid of the Fire King Island here. This was not that easy to decide because I thought like, okay, Fire King Island might get me somewhere if my witch gets interrupted, because I can still go destroy my Ash Blossom then, and then I might be able to search, I don't know, the Ponyx. But I figured, okay, the thing is that if I do it this way, then it doesn't really get me anywhere, because then I can only basically achieve the beginning of my Fire King line, which does not really help me. But in order for me to get to this point, I would need to destroy an Ash Blossom, and I would need to discard one of these hand traps here for my Diabellstar. And I figured, okay, if he has a hand trap for my Diabellstar, then I still have an Imperm, an Ash, and a Maxi for his next turn to survive, which is very likely that you can do it with these cards. And then again, if I have my Diabellstar online and he kills my Diabellstar, I can resummon her and access the original Sinful Spoils. Fortunately for me, though, there is no interruption in the hand, so we are just going for the basic Diabellstar line here. I just go quick here. We go Snacker Ash. You want to grab your Ponyx here because you can still normal summon the Ponyx into the Sanctuary into the what? And at this point, I'm like, okay, damn it, my island is already in the grave, right? So this is something that, yeah, this was something. Maybe it would have made more sense to not do it this way now that I see it here once again, because obviously, if the Diabellstar line goes through, then I need the island. But at this was something I didn't thought about at this point. So I was like, okay, I have to go for an Oak then here, and now we are basically into our normal. This is basically the normal Poplar line here that we are doing now. Once again, because I'm not quite sure what he's playing in his deck, I think I decided to go for the Worldseed Dragon Z Atlantis thing just to be safe for a potential Super Poly, if I remember this correctly. Yeah, I messed this up with the island. Yeah. I mean, the thought process of not wanting to discard my hand traps was pretty nice, I guess. But yeah, then again, if I get my Diabellstar line through, I need the island, so this was a bit stupid. We are going for the replacement here, as we did in the first game, and now I can just set... By the way, always set your Imperm in the most left or most right column. Just if you play against Pendulum, then you can interrupt him more easily. We go for Maxi. He has nothing for this. This is nice for us here. This is a very wild game, honestly. He has Airlifter, and I Imperm the Airlifter, and I was like, okay, if he has Emergency, which he has 2 copies of, I have an Ash, because I really dislike Imperming in an Airlifter, because if there is Emergency, then this is really wasted. But I was like, okay, you can only dodge this with an Emergency, and I have an Ash for this. And obviously he wants to dodge this, makes sense. I Ash this, and I'm very, very lucky, as now the Emergency is gone for this turn, and the Airlifter will also grab nothing here. Because the Airlifter normally grabs the Emergencies, so even if at this point he could have grabbed something with the Airlifter, would not have been that amazing. But I mean, he still has follow-up, right? And now he goes for a Diabellstar with the other Emergency, and he sets Wanted here. And this obviously tells me that there is an OSS in the hand, and there is an OSS in the hand. And I forget this at some point at the continuance of the turn, but we go for a Link 2 here into a Heater, and obviously Heater would be able to summon stuff from my graveyard. So I think I just go for the IP Masquerade and get rid of the Heater here, if I remember this correctly. We draw the Anti-Spirit Fragrance that we have in the deck. I just want to get rid of the Heater here. The other cool thing is that the Heater will only get to search if it gets destroyed, and we will banish it here, so this is not something that will come up. Obviously, the Flamebird Dragon, you want to chain block it, Flamebird Dragon 1, the SP2, because this can't really be interrupted, but this can be interrupted by a Ghost Bell, for example. So we chain block this here, remove the Heater, and yeah, we go for the Flamebird Flame, and another here. And now, honestly, I think the mistake I do at this point here, which allows him to continue his plays, you can see the nip counter is at 4, and I could have counted this, right? But I didn't. So now we have this Ash and this Oak, and I think I just resummon the Ponyx and resummon the Poplar, if I remember this correctly. It could have just stopped here, honestly, and would have been very wise. This would have been the end of the turn, but I resummon the Ponyx, and now we are at 5. And I also resummon Poplar, and now we are at 6. So he goes Nibiru. I decide to get these 2 off the field so I can keep them, and they will come back at the end phase. because I figured everyone else can go to the grave, but it's okay. So here comes the nip. Unfortunately, I can't use my Promethean Princess in the grave. I can't use my... no, the Fire King stuff is not in the grave. But I can't use the Princess in the grave. Very unfortunate. And he now has a target that he can use for his original Symbol Spoil. So yeah, I could have played this way better. We are going to set this Flame Witch here. This is obviously nice. He goes into his Hydrant, and this is obviously what I wanted to avoid at all cost, him having his Turbulence here. But at least he will give us some cards that we can use to play back with. That's nice. So he will go Turbulence and then just set all his stuff. If I remember this correctly, he goes for even more summons here, which I did not really understand, because I think you just should just stop this here. I think he goes for a Preventer also, which I kind of understand, I guess. Yeah, but let's see. He uses his rescue, his alert to grab his Preventer here. And yeah, and then also goes for an Anima here. Gives me another draw. Anima to steal my token. And obviously the thing is that at this point he can also kill me, right? This is the second turn. But what he has done now is he has given me Kirin in the hand, and now I can actually play the game. And I think, if I remember this correctly, this game will end in his turn. I will not get the turn back. So now I have my Kirin, which now I can react. And yeah, he goes Preventer and Preventer on the field, and there I have a nip. I draw a nip and I was like, okay, cool, then I can just get rid of the entire field. I do this. There goes a nip after his nip. This was very funny. And I think he just continues to play with something. The Preventer can get back the Hydrant, and I think he goes for a Dark now in a moment. Yeah, that's the Judgment that we also had in the deck. He goes for a Dark here, obviously giving him the ability to grab my IP if he wants to, or also my Dire Bellstar. And I was like, okay, cool, I have my Kirin here now. I know that all of these they can't be used right now, so I just go Kirin, destroy the Ulcanix, this will summon the Garunix, and also the Kirin and Garunix can destroy the other Kirin and thereby destroy the Dark, and then it's just game. So this is what we are doing here. Kirin is very nice. It's like a bestial hand trap if you want to think of it that way. I go summon this guy here, everything in defense position, just to be safe, like attack wise, but doesn't really matter, I guess. We kick this here, and this is just the end of the game because he can do nothing, and I can just kill him on the crackback. So this was the top run of the tournament, basically. I hope you liked it. I will show you the deck list now. Also, if you want to participate in these tournaments, you can definitely do this. Just go and join the Challenger Cup Discord server, where you can just participate in these tournaments for free and win cool prize pools, if you ask me. We played this Fire King Snake Eyes deck here, the basic list that I've been playing for a while now. This is the list I won the first cup with, this is the list I won the second cup with, and I participate in all the cups with this list here, and then just change stuff out depending on what my matchup is. Guys, I hope you liked the video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for being here. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.